Hi everyone, we're going to give some last minute attendees just another second to join in and then we'll go ahead and get started. I see a lot of familiar names here, so I'm very excited that you're all joining us today. It's awesome. So it is 3, so let's go ahead and get started. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Allison Beebe. I'm one of the freshman admissions advisors here at SUNY Plattsburgh. I know a lot of you, and I know a lot of you may recognize my name, so if we haven't met yet, it's very nice to meet you. I work primarily with all the students in the Hudson Valley and out of state, so many of you know who I am and get emails from me all the time, but it's wonderful to have all of you here, even the ones I have not met yet. So most importantly, we have some absolutely fantastic current students here with us today, and they're the reason you're here, they're the reason I'm here. So let's let them introduce themselves. Naomi, do you want to go first and let us know a couple things about yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Naomi. I'm an international student. I'm a second semester sophomore, and I'm an international business and marketing major at SUNY Plattsburgh.
Awesome. And how about you, Dakota?
Yeah, my name is Dakota. I'm from Niskayuna, New York. I'm going to my junior year at Plattsburgh, and I am a social work major with a minor in photography.
Awesome, thanks. And last but not least, Nicole.
Hi everyone, my name is Nicole. I'm a communication sciences and disorders major with a minor in psychology, and I'm a senior here at SUNY Plattsburgh. I'm also from Warwick, New York, which is about an hour-ish from the city and about 4 hours from Plattsburgh.
Awesome. So to give you all an idea of what the goal is for today, obviously you're here because you're looking to hear from some current students. So we have them all gathered here for you. They're going to answer all of your burning questions about SUNY Plattsburgh. So anything you're curious about living on campus or what the classes are like, what the food options are, how do you find a roommate, any of those questions that you haven't been able to have answered yet, and you really just want the student perspective, that's why we're here. So to kind of kick things off, everyone take a look and find where you have the chat feature in Zoom. Now, depending on what device you're using right now, it could be along the top or the bottom of your screen, or it might be along the side of your screen as well. So find that little icon for chat. And then to get everyone familiar with how that's going to work, if you want to send a quick chat in, and how about everyone lets us know where you go to high school? That would be a good one to kick things off, especially because I know there's a lot of high schools that a lot of our students here might recognize based on where they are from. So let's send in your high school, and if you want to add a fun fact in there, you're more than welcome to, and that'll make sure that we all know how to use the chat feature so we can really get things kicked off here. So I'll keep an eye out for those. Also, if anyone's having any technical difficulties along the way, if you can't see or hear us or you're having trouble, please put that in the chat as well, and we can help sort of figure that situation out as we go too. Awesome, so we have someone here with us from Brooklyn, New York. We've got someone from North Rockland High School, awesome. I know I've got a couple more people here with us today, so I'll give you another minute to figure out that chat. So this is also where we're going to be collecting all of your questions. So there is no such thing as a silly question. We've probably heard them all before, or they're questions that these students had or that I had when I was starting at SUNY Plattsburgh. So all questions are fair game, and we will do our best to answer them for you. So as you have those questions now as well, go ahead and start adding those into the chat, and we'll start getting those answered and really just get the ball rolling. So it looks like we already have a question right off the bat, which is awesome. Nicole, I'm going to throw this over to you because you are a community advocate and it is dorm related. So how does the process work for getting your first roommate at Plattsburgh?
Yeah, so we have a ton of different options for you to get a roommate. We have a Facebook group, which is actually where I got my roommate for freshman year and also sophomore year. Each class has a Facebook group, so it'd be like mine was class of 2021. So I just went in there, I introduced myself, said that I was interested in certain topics and stuff like that. And I said that I was trying to find new friends and also finding a roommate. So that was how I found my roommate. But we also have a process when you accept that you're going to SUNY Plattsburgh, and you go to the housing and like online housing, and then you have to take like a whole form, fill out a whole form. And that's where you can kind of put in how you like to live. So if you are neat or messy, if you stay up late or you get up early, stuff like that. And if you don't know anyone by the time that you're assigned a room, they will put you with someone else that is kind of compatible with what you put down in your application, which is really awesome. We also have our, I know like this year it's kind of different, but we have orientation for freshmen, and that's also another place where you'll be able to find a roommate if you have time. I know we're not doing like in-person orientation this year, but if say you're a junior or something like that next year, hopefully you'll be able to do on or in person.
Awesome. Thanks, Nicole. So I just got a question actually about that in-person thing and asking if we have any in-person tours available on campus right now. I can speak to this one a little bit because I'm right in the middle of all that. So currently we are not on campus. You can see that I am coming to you from my living room, and so are all of our students here. So unfortunately, none of us are on campus right now due to COVID-19. But until we can get back on campus, and we will update the website and send out all kinds of emails as soon as that happens, because that's where we all want to be right now too. As soon as that happens, you'll know. But in the meantime, we actually have a really cool 360-degree virtual tour that we host live. So it's actually usually one of our fantastic students that's on panel with us today that you're going to hear a lot from that runs that tour. And they take you on something like 50 stops, I think it is, around campus, and you get a full 360-degree view of every stop. So if you're looking for a campus tour that is as close to the real thing as we've got right now, check that out on our admissions visitation tab, and that's going to be a good one. So next question I'm going to throw over to Naomi because she always has really fun answers for this one. So Naomi, what is the weekend life like at SUNY Plattsburgh? What's going on? What do you like to do?
The weekend life is pretty fun. I always kind of say that. I tell like a little bit about like a specific weekend I had. It kind of ends up being that way. But yeah, like usually like we end up going somewhere out of town. Like that's how my weekends usually go. It's either New York City, which isn't like the most common weekend location, but some people still choose to go there. Other than that, like Burlington and Montreal are like very popular weekend destinations. Yeah, we have weekend destinations in Plattsburgh, but other than that, like downtown is really cool. So like if you like want something to do, if you want to like go to a restaurant, there are some really cool ones down there. If you want to like grab a drink, you just grab a coffee and read a book. Like there's like smaller places where like you can do really anything you want at and like have a little fun. And if you're not really into whatever downtown is offering, or like the town in general is offering, it's always really easy to just get out of here and drive an hour away and like go somewhere you like. So I think like that's the biggest advantage of like weekending in Plattsburgh.
Awesome. I saw a couple people are just joining us. So if you're just jumping into our conversation here, make sure you're typing any questions that you have for our student panelists right into the chat, and we'll get those answered for you. Dakota, I'm going to throw the next one to you. It's about having a car on campus. Do you need a car? If you don't bring a car with you, how do you get around?
Right. So one unique thing about Plattsburgh that I'm sure most of you know if you're accepted at this point is that freshmen are allowed to have cars on campus, which can definitely be a perk, but it's by no means necessary. I didn't have a car my first semester, and it's really easy to still get around Plattsburgh. We have the shuttle system that runs every 30 minutes throughout every day, and that will bring you uptown to the Walmart, to the Target, the mall, and to the Price Chopper. And then downtown is only like a 5-minute walk, maybe a half-mile walk, and that's really easy to get to as well. So another thing is like for me personally, when my first semester here, there was one person in my friend group that had a car. So like if we ever wanted to go to like Lake Placid or Burlington or something like that, we would usually just carpool. And there's also like events every weekend almost through, whether it's like the student association or individual clubs, or maybe your floor is doing a trip. There's a lot of opportunities to get out and really explore the area, even if you don't have a car.
And Dakota, are freshmen allowed to have a car?
Yeah. Yep. Just the price of a parking pass, and I think that's it. And yeah, freshmen are allowed to have cars.
Awesome. So lots of good options there, which is great. So we've got another question about what kind of dorm life is like. Nicole, can you talk a little bit about some of the programs you all put on as a CA and what kind of happens when you're living in the dorms?
Yeah, sure. So I actually was a freshman CA. What a CA is a community advocate, or you might know as like a resident assistant RA in other schools. But we are, for freshmen, you have two on each floor, and then for upperclassmen, there's only one. But what's nice is that our main thing that we have to do is that we have to like put on programs and stuff and make sure everyone's like getting along, obviously on the floor and stuff like that. But we've done a ton of different programs. We did a building wide program with all the floors. We did almost like a chopped cookout, like the show. So each floor had a certain amount of ingredients that they had to use and make a meal out of. And then we had judges and they got to pick who won, which was really awesome. And it brought the whole building together really. But we also have floor programs as well. We've done different like creativity programs. Freshmen have thematic floor based. So what that is just everyone is kind of this like has a similar basis of what they like to do. So we have like outdoor adventure, creativity, music, stuff like that. I was on the creativity floor, so we did a lot of like painting. We did pumpkin painting and stuff like that. But also we did other activities, like we did a breakfast for dinner. So we did pancakes, bacon, eggs, and then we just got to hang out with all the residents and stuff like that, which was really fun. And a lot of people like going. So definitely, if you're living in freshman housing, and even if you're not in freshman housing, definitely try to go and go to those events because they're always so much fun.
Awesome, thank you. All right, so next we have a question about kind of clubs and activities. Naomi, I'm going to throw this one to you because you are very involved on campus. So what are some of your favorite activities that you participate in? What are your favorite things to do on campus?
Some of my favorite things to do, well, like clubs and activities, like there's a lot of clubs and organizations on campus. I was, my freshman year, I was involved with like the South Asian Student Association. I was also involved with like Plattsburgh State Television, where they have like this student directed and produced shows that like air and all around Plattsburgh, all around Burlington. So like those were some fun things I did like regularly. But like every once in a while, like I used to like to go to like theater shows that our school might have, or like club events. Like when it comes to club events, you can literally find anything. Like we have everything, like ranging from fashion shows to, I know last semester one of our clubs did like an outing to like a ski lodge or something, where like they spent a day there and they did it with alumni, if I'm correct. And like there's just like a lot of fun things like that. So just like discovering what there's to do, and then always just finding some like a gathering that like is educative, or like just I find satisfying, has just been like a really nice way and like educational way to spend time on campus, and also like a really fun way. We do like on Fridays, the Sundowner used to have a special where they used to let like students paint or like make our own mugs and stuff. So like that used to be the kind of thing that I would always like to go to.
Awesome, thanks Naomi. Dakota, I'm going to throw the next one over to you. We just got a question about balancing schoolwork, maybe an on-campus job, and a social life at Plattsburgh. Now, you've got a major and a minor that you participate in. You're in a club. You got a lot of things going on. So how does that balance work for you?
I would really say it's case to case and person to person. If you're looking to get like, if you're wanting to put in as many hours as you can, it might be more difficult. But there's really a lot of opportunities, and like I found that any schedules I have in jobs I've had on campus are extremely flexible. They always understand that like you're a student first, and you really are able to sort of mold your own schedule so you know how much time you're going to have in each area. Time management is definitely something that you're going to learn a lot about in college. It took me about a full semester before I was anywhere near adequate. But yeah, I mean, if you want to have more of a social life and then focus less on work or something like that, it's really going to be how you build your own schedule, I guess. It's the easiest way to say it.
Awesome. And kind of along that same coin, Nicole, we got a question about kind of knowing what classes to sign up for, and that's going to require working with your academic advisor. Can you talk a little bit about what that relationship with that person is like and how all that works?
Yeah, so your academic advisor is there for you throughout as soon as you get into SUNY Plattsburgh and up till you graduate. Even if you have to go to grad school and you go at SUNY Plattsburgh, they'll still be able to help you out there as well. But they are there to just help you, kind of guide you in the right direction. What's nice is that every semester, kind of towards like the middle of the semester, you have to go to your advisor just so you can meet up with them and make sure that you're putting the right classes in for the next semester and stuff like that. So they'll be able to answer really any questions about that. When you first come to SUNY Plattsburgh, even through, I know we have the online orientation, but even then, you'll still be able to talk to your advisor through that, and they'll be able to help you sign up for the classes then as well. What's also nice is that since you get to know them, and it's usually a professor that's in your major, you'll get to know them pretty well throughout the whole time that you're at SUNY Plattsburgh. And if, say, you do need to go to grad school and you need a letter of recommendation, they'll be able to give you that because they know you so well, which is really nice.
Awesome. So Naomi, can you talk a little bit about what it's like to work on campus and to find a job? We've got quite a few students that are interested in working on campus.
Yeah, sure. So I've had like several jobs on campus, including this one that we're doing right now. So I'm an international student, so my experience for like finding a job on campus is much tougher than it would be for something like a student who was like a local student, like who was from the United States, because our campus offers work study opportunities that are offered to all the citizens of the United States. But even while that is happening, I've still like been able to find a job each semester. So like there is the availability. Our like payroll office and whoever you're going to be working with is going to like help you get the paperwork and everything ready. Other than that, like what else do we need to know? There are a lot of parts of campus that are hiring like all the time. So there you can find a job in like campus dining, you can find a job working in different offices, and then like you can find a job in like especially if you're like psychology or psychology or sociology, we have departments that work with like children and elders who suffer from like different types of age diseases. So like you can work in places like that, and like that can also like benefit your major, and all this can be done on campus. Yeah.
Awesome. So Dakota, we have a question specifically about move-in weekend. So can you talk a little bit about the absolute fun, excitement, and a little bit of madness that is move-in weekend?
Yeah, it's definitely probably the most exciting weekend of the year, especially for freshmen. I remember it pretty vividly. It's like just a ton going on. It's really going to be your first, I guess, especially for this year, given the COVID-19. It's going to be your first real taste of campus, and just sort of, I guess, getting to know the area without the constrictions of like a tour with like parents and stuff like that. So one thing I always would recommend is sort of what I did, at least, is like I went through my schedule and went and like found each class. I think opening weekend, they usually leave like academic buildings unlocked. And I found that was super useful because I guess in high school, some people already struggle to find classes. So when you're dealing with 10 or so different academic buildings, it can be pretty difficult to know exactly where everything is. And that also just sort of like helps you memorize and understand how the campus layout works. It's just a really great way of getting to know the area, and then just sort of exploring different dining options, whether they're on or off campus, and just getting comfortable with Plattsburgh is really, it's a really fun thing to do for the first time.
And on that same coin too, now a lot of our students are really concerned that they're not going to be able to take a campus tour in person potentially before they come up to campus. You didn't see campus until orientation. So can you talk a little bit about that experience and any advice you have?
Yeah, I mean, I had been to Plattsburgh in my life because I grew up in the North Country, but I really had never walked around campus until my orientation because my college application process was a mess. But it's just, you know, it's really exciting to see those things for the first time. And I guess in your situation, I would definitely recommend utilizing like our virtual tour. Obviously, it's not quite the same thing, but it's going to be as good a representation as you can get. And with like the whole like 3D-ness of it, it's kind of cool to be able to put yourself there without actually being there. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. So, of course, we have a question about food. Nicole, do you want to touch on this one a little bit? What some of the options are on campus, what the meal plans like, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so the meal plan, I'm not gonna lie, is pretty confusing when you first hear it. There's so many different parts to it, but as soon as you get to campus, within the first week, you're gonna know how to use the meal plan. But we have a ton of different options throughout campus. We have an area that uses meal swipes, which are just you swipe your card, and it's a buffet style. So you go in and you eat whatever you like, and as much as you like. Also, that's all. That's one of the biggest dining halls. That's Clinton Dining Hall, and they have a ton of different options throughout that whole area. There's different stations, and you can get like pasta, pizza, burgers. There's a station that switches in and out every single day, stuff like that. But we also have dining dollar options, which are, I like to say, like the debit card part of our meal plan. So say you go to Subway, which is on campus, and you spend, say, $4, it'll take $4 off of your total amount of dining dollars. And we have, again, Subway, we have Einstein Bros Bagels, which is a bagel place, and you also get different sandwiches there. We also have Griddles, which is a breakfast place, Sonos, which is like Chipotle, and we also have the Sundowner, which is another place where you can get a ton of different options. What's nice is that they all accommodate to different preferences. So say if you're vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian, and also allergies. So if you're, say, gluten-free, you have a nut allergy or something like that, you just have to tell the employee that you have an allergy or if you have a certain preference, and they'll be able to help you out.
Awesome. So we've got a fun question asking about where you can get some Plattsburgh merch before you get onto campus. So we do have a really fantastic bookstore at Plattsburgh. They just happen to be online as well. Dakota, I saw you unmuted yourself, so you're excited. Do you want to talk about the bookstore a little bit?
Well, I just sent the link to the thing, and I wanted to explain that a little bit because I meant to add a message to it, but didn't. But yeah, that's the link to our online bookstore, and I think anything that they have in store, they also have online right there. So yeah, that's a really good question that I haven't really heard asked at all. So I wanted to, I guess, jump on that. But yeah, so just I would go to that website, and anything you could want will really be there. And yeah.
Yes, if you want to get your SUNY Plattsburgh branded anything, that's going to be a good one-stop shop. And that's also where you can find your books when you're coming to campus as well, unless you're looking to get them online, which a lot of students do, but you can also find them there. So lots of fun things going on. All right, so let's see what our next question is here. Oh, this is a good one. Naomi, can you talk a little bit about the school spirit on campus and what it's like to be a Plattsburgh Cardinal?
Yeah, I think it's pretty fun, especially when it comes to like hockey and basketball. Our true colors shine. So like there's a lot of like enthusiasm and activity when it comes to like different sports, I think. And our colors are like red and white. So who wouldn't want to love that? Love wearing those colors. I think that's pretty cool. Our hockey is there's a bit of a rivalry that comes to hockey, I think. But like our women are champions. So it's literally always fun to be like a fan of the women's hockey team. Like they always win. How can you not be happy? So I think it maintains a sort of like a really fun school spirit all around.
Awesome. So I think this is a very interesting question. I'm going to throw this one over to Nicole. Nicole, what was your first week of school like? If you can remember back that far.
I'll try to. My first week, we had a lot of like syllabus classes. So it was like the first time you go into the class, and they'll tell you all about what's going to happen throughout the whole semester, what's due in certain days. You'll get a whole syllabus, and definitely keep that because that's where all of like the due dates are and stuff like that for each class. I would honestly say it was lighter than the other weeks, but again, when I usually had class either twice or 3 times a week, and then after the first class, we went right into learning. So it was kind of the same as going to like high school and starting to learn as soon as we got there, but it's definitely a little lighter. They kind of try to build you up into going into the class. So each week or each syllabus week of each semester is kind of lighter, but then as it goes on, it gets a little more things are due and stuff like that. So
Awesome. And Dakota, what sort of things can you have in a dorm room?
There really aren't that many restrictions. I guess the most base thing is really anything that heats. Any microwaves or like heated blankets, I think, aren't allowed. The one exception being a Keurig, you are allowed to have that. Other than that, it's really just like certain like power strips, they need to have an on-off switch, and anything like that is really just for fire safety. But other than that, they're really yours to customize as you will. You can have posters and like flags or whatever. And then yeah, just I guess really just trying to make it your home, since that's where you're gonna ultimately end up spending a lot of your time between sleep and everything else. But yeah, there's really not that many limitations, I would say.
Awesome. And then you will have access to a microwave and all that good stuff on your floor too. So don't be worried if you can't have your popcorn in your room. We just don't want everyone burning popcorn at 3 a.m. and setting the fire alarms off. So that's the main reason for that. So let's see here. Okay, Nicole, can you talk a little bit about some of the options for getting back home during breaks?
Yeah, we have a ton of options on campus and also throughout Plattsburgh. Say if you live a little closer to Plattsburgh, you can take like an Uber or a taxi service. That's really like within Plattsburgh. But also we have a Amtrak train station that runs from Plattsburgh, and it's literally like a 10-minute walk. I've walked it before, and it's not far from campus. So even if you don't have a car, you can still go and not have to take a taxi or anything. But that takes you all the way from Plattsburgh all the way down to Penn Station, and obviously there's stops in between and stuff like that. I live in Warwick, which is like Hudson Valley area. I usually get off at the Poughkeepsie stop, so that kind of puts it into perspective if anyone lives in the Hudson Valley area. But also we have a bus that takes all the campus students. It's basically run through SUNY Plattsburgh, so you would have to buy a ticket to the bus, and usually for like say winter breaks, fall breaks, stuff like that, they'll be able to take you from Plattsburgh all the way down into Long Island even, which is really awesome. And there's different stops again all along the way, and it'll also take you back up, which is really cool too.
Awesome. So it looks like right now we are out of student questions. So if you have more questions, make sure you type those into the chat. I have always lots of questions. So let's talk about some of the most frequently asked questions, see if we can spark some ideas for you guys. So let's see here. Oh, this is a good one. So many of you are from a little bit south of Plattsburgh. You may have heard that it gets a little bit weathery up here. Dakota, can you talk about what the weather's like in Plattsburgh?
So yeah, if you're from anywhere in New York, it really isn't like it's that much different. It is north of the Adirondacks, so the one thing that I really experience differently is the wind. The wind really whips down, especially when you're walking up Broad Street or Ruger Street, and it's just really peeling your eyelids back. But other than that, it's really not that bad, and you really do get used to it. And I think one of the most forgotten things I would say is people forget to bring a fan, because during the first month or so on campus, it's going to be very, very warm and very hot at night. So that's one thing that people are always running to Walmart and Target for in the first week of the year, is a fan or an extra fan to try to cool you off. So you're really going to experience every season while you're here. And I would say for almost all of the fall semester and the second half of the spring semester, it's really nice weather, and you're going to be able to be outside and do all those sorts of things.
Awesome. So we got some questions. You sparked some ideas. So great job, guys. So Nicole, I'll throw this one over to you. The question is, if you change majors, would you still have the same advisor? And you've got a couple programs going on. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so if you do end up changing your major, you would probably get another advisor in that major, the one that you went into, the second major, I guess. That's only because that major or that advisor is specific to the program. So say if you switch from a math major to a like art major, the math major or the math advisor is not really going to know what to do for art. So you would definitely be going to a new advisor for like the art department, say. That's just my example. But yeah, if you say you're undecided, you can have an advisor that's like an undecided advisor, but you can still, even if you go to another major and say that major isn't for you, you could still always go back to the undecided advisor and kind of have them guide you into another major or something like that.
Awesome. And if you do end up having 2 majors on campus, you have 2 advisors. So you've got lots and lots of people to be looking over your schedule and making sure you're on the track for graduation and all of that good stuff. So next question, Dakota, how often do students cross the border and go hang out in Canada?
I'd say it sort of depends student to student. I'm a big hockey fan, so I've gone up to Montreal and to Ottawa for games a couple of times, or just gone up for the weekend. It's definitely a unique opportunity that we have in the North Country. I would definitely recommend bringing your either just your enhanced license or your passport, because I know a lot of people that don't have it that often want to have it, and it's really easy to get. But I mean, it's not like something that like you have to do either. Like, it's really easy to have a great time in Plattsburgh, but I think it's a really good opportunity, and it's always a fun time. There's a lot of things that you can do up there, and it's like it's almost like going to Europe. Like, Quebec is, everyone speaks French, but by the way, you don't need to know French. I don't know a lick of French, and I've never struggled there too much. They're pretty polite, and just about everyone there knows English. But yeah, I would try to utilize that opportunity if you can, but if you don't, it's not the end of the world.
And have either of you ever been to a concert in Montreal?
I have not been to a concert.
No? So where Dakota watches hockey, they also have some really awesome concerts in Montreal. We've seen Taylor Swift, Shawn Mendes. I was supposed to see Bon Jovi before the pandemic happened. I'm only a little bit bitter about it, but they'll come back, so it's okay. It's only about an hour from campus, so a lot of students will utilize that as well to go see some really cool shows. Right, so what do we have next? Okay, this is a good question. Nicole, I'll throw it back over to you. Can you talk about some of the safety features on campus, whether it be university police or in the dorms?
Yeah, so we have a university police department on campus, and they are state-run police officers. They're not security guards or anything like that. So they're trained through the state, everything, and they'll be able to help you with basically anything. We have a blue light system throughout campus, which is like a red pole with a blue light on top, and it's for emergencies. So if like there's an emergency, or if like you just feel uncomfortable, which I never really felt uncomfortable in my opinion, but if you did, you can always just press the button and they're there within 60 seconds, which is amazing. They're always on top of that stuff. Also in the buildings, you'll see university police just like walking around, seeing what's going on, especially on the weekends, and just checking up, making sure everything's okay. In the dorms also, we have, before you even go into the dorms, we have a pad that you have to scan your card on, and that's going to be able to let you into the building. Anyone that doesn't have a card, they're not allowed to get into the building unless obviously someone lets them in, but we try to make sure that no one lets them in. Also, CAs are on duty from 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. And especially on the weekends, we have a phone with us. So if there is any emergencies, someone can call the phone and we'll be able to help you with that. And also if we need, we can call university police too.
Awesome. So I got a pretty specific question that just popped in about biomedical sciences, and this is a really good question. So our biomedical sciences program, for those of you who don't know, is a pre-med program on campus. So pretty much anything in the medical field that you could ever want to do aside from nursing, which we have a separate program for, you can accomplish through biomedical sciences. So it's a pretty broad spectrum program, which is awesome. One of the things we've built into it is the ability to kind of pick a medical track that speaks to you. So if you want to be pre-optometry, pre-med, pre-veterinary, whatever it is, we've got several of those, pre-health tracks already figured out for you. So this question was, when you get a pre-health advisor or pre-med advisor, which is going to be the person that works with you on that one specific track that you've chosen, do you also get to keep your biomedical sciences major advisor? And you do. So you will have both of those people, and you will also have a chemistry advisor as well, because it's got a chemistry minor built right in. So you're going to have 3 people in your corner checking your schedule, making sure you're on track for graduation, and really just being a resource for you. So that's a really exciting program and a really exciting opportunity to have a lot of support from our faculty. So you've got 3 advisors to work with. Good question. All right, I'm going to do another call out for some questions, because that brought us to the end of our list again. Of course, like I said, I always have questions for these lovely 2. We did lose Naomi to some technical difficulty, so if you're wondering where she went, unfortunately, her internet has failed her, which is something we're all experiencing right now. So unfortunately, we would have loved to have her for the rest of this, but I'm glad she got to join us for at least the beginning. So some other questions that we get asked all of the time. Let's talk a little bit about Plattsburgh sports. And this will be a good one for Dakota because Dakota has the opportunity to photograph a lot of these games. So can you kind of talk about what the atmosphere is like? Are students, students have to pay to go? Is it free? What's going on with Plattsburgh sports?
Yeah, so it's definitely something I would check out. All sporting events on campus that are D3 are free to attend. And I'd say like definitely the hockey games are probably the most hyped thing in the area, college or not. And also the basketball games get extremely hyped up and people really pack Memorial Hall. But really, like, whether it's just like soccer games in the fall or lacrosse and baseball and softball in the spring, like there's always stuff going on. And if you're a big sports fan, like it's really fun to be able to cheer them on at a sort of semi-professional level. Like D3, it gets really hyped up and competitive. So I would definitely check those out sometimes. It's like I said, it's a great opportunity to represent Plattsburgh too.
Awesome. So we did get another question in, and this is asking if your advisors are also going to serve as your tutors, and they're actually not. Your advisor is the closest thing you're going to have to kind of like a guidance counselor in high school. They function a little bit differently, but just to kind of give you an idea of their role. We do, however, have a fantastic tutoring center on campus. Can you talk about that a little bit, Nicole?
Yeah, so tutoring center is, we have over 100 plus different programs and also classes that are have a tutor in that area. What's nice is that the tutor can be it's a paid job. So if you want to become a tutor, you could. You just have to get approved by like the professor and have received a B or higher in that course. But what's nice is that these are students that have already took that class, have gotten good grades, and been recommended by the professor. So if you do need help with any class, they are pretty reliable in helping, and they're able to like kind of help you study, do different studying tips and stuff like that. They know the professor too, so they'll be able to kind of help you, say if you have to write an essay, what the professor looks for in writing the essay and stuff like that. We also have writing tutors, so if you need help with writing or for really any class, you're able to go in there and they'll be able to help you like peer edit, stuff like that. Also make sure your citations are correct and everything. And we also have time management tutors. So say if you have a lot going on throughout your semester and throughout your week, you'll be able to go and kind of sit down with someone and they'll be able to help you kind of plan everything out throughout the week, which is awesome too.
We just got a clarifying question on that too, Nicole. Do you have to pay for tutoring services?
Oh, no, I forgot to mention that. No, you do not have to pay for tutoring services.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So another question that just came in. Dakota, I'll throw this to you. What were some of the ways when you first got to campus that you made new friends, that you met people, that you got involved? What were you doing?
Well, my first week on campus, it was really just sort of like exploring my floor. Some of my floor mates my freshman year became like my first like friend group on campus. Really like they just had like an open door and they were like playing, they had like a Wii setup or something like that. And I just sort of like knocked on the door and they happened to be from Guilderland, which is really close to where I'm from. And from there, yeah, we just sort of hung out. We started like, we play like basketball together behind Mason and soccer and stuff like that. And just, you know, you're going to find a lot of people with common interests with you because like you're going to it from a situation where there's only like maybe 100 or so people your age to a situation where there's like 5,000. So like there's going to be people who have the same interests of you, whether you find them just like coincidentally or you find them in like clubs. There's tons of different opportunities to sort of find those people that you're going to connect with. And it's a really cool and different experience if you're used to like a smaller town like I was.
Awesome. And Naomi, welcome back. She fixed her internet issues and she's able to join us.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm really sorry about that, but yeah, I'm back. Hello, everyone.
Wow. Well, since you're here, I'll throw over the next question to you, if that sounds good. Let's see what we've got here. So there's a question about internship opportunities, and actually you're a really good person for this coming from the School of Business and Economics. Can you talk a little bit about maybe internships you've seen or your friends have done and kind of what's out there for options?
Oh yeah, like I guess I made it right on time because internships, like this is a really good topic to talk about, I think, because it's really important. And right now, like during COVID-19, a lot of people are like really disappointed because of like their internships didn't go through and everything. But I can say a little bit about like what you can do right now and also what it's like once you come here. So right now in the School of Business specifically, we have an internship coordinator, Mr. John Shearer. So basically his job is to make sure that like SE students have an internship. And when there is someone was like, where there's someone specifically for that job in like in the School of Business, that makes it much easier for students to like get the internships they wanted. Right now I'm doing an internship with an online company, with like a remote company, and I'm doing that from home. And like he was just really helpful. I had a hard time getting signatures for the signatures to get credit for the internship, because as we know, like a lot of professors are at home and everything. And he was like, I can help you with that. Like I can drop by their offices. So they're just like really helpful when it comes to things like that. But also I was lucky enough to find this internship like on my own. But for students like who aren't like able to do that, or like weren't lucky enough to like get their accepted, like applications accepted and stuff, they try to like find opportunities that are like matched with students, and also just like for students who have internships required as a part of their major, they make sure that like all students like get their internship, and that is not an obstacle for them to graduate.
Awesome, thank you. That was perfect timing to pop back in for that one. So next question that just came through, I can actually address. I think I've probably got the most emails about this lately. So is, what is fall going to look like now with COVID-19? And isn't that the question of the hour? So unfortunately, we're still waiting for New York to answer that question for us. So we don't have a super clear picture yet of what fall is going to look like on our campus. What I can tell you is there is a fantastic little COVID-19 tab on the main page of SUNY Plattsburgh's website. It has all the same information that I as an employee know. So that is going to be the best place to check for updates. If you are an accepted student and you're familiar with the accepted student page on Facebook, today, so you're some of the first people to know this information, we actually just launched an admissions specific COVID-19 updates page. So that's going to answer a lot of questions about coming to campus, any documents that you've been trying to submit, anything admissions related that you're curious about because of COVID-19 is going to be there. So jump on the accepted students page for that one, and right on the side there's an admissions COVID-19 specific updates page. So between those two update pages, you should have a pretty good idea of everything that I have answers to. And then you can also always reach out to us directly at the admissions with an s at plattsburgh.edu. That's the best place to send any questions that you have regarding COVID-19 as well. All right, so, oh, this will be a good one. Let's see, who's up? I think it's Dakota. Dakota, can you talk a little bit about what course registration means and how the registration process goes?
Yeah, so course registration is really just signing up for what classes you're going to take next semester. That'll be, I know that the orientation is going to look very differently this year, but that's always one of the biggest parts of orientation is setting up your first schedule. And they'll teach you how to do it and how to use like the course finder and stuff like that through the Plattsburgh banner page. But yeah, so what's going to happen is you're going to talk with your advisor, and they're going to sort of get you set up with your first schedule, and really they're going to walk you through it for the first time, because when come like next spring semester, it's going to be really up to each individual student on building their own schedule. It's I always find it really exciting, because it's sort of like setting up what your day is going to look like for the next 4 months or so. So it makes a lot more sense when it's all in front of you, but it's a really like easy system to navigate, and you can find exactly what classes and exactly what times you are looking to take them, so everything fits really well.
Awesome. So I have a question that came in regards to paying your bill and the timeline of that and how all of that craziness works. Do any of you have any comments on that, or would you prefer that I take that over? Okay, go right ahead, Naomi.
I can say a couple of things about this. I think we had a similar question the previous time. So I will tell you not about what happens when you can't pay your bill, but I'll tell you what happens when you can't pay all your bill together at the same time. So for for a lot of our students, like this is very common as like we are expected to pay large amounts of money and it's hard for everyone to get out one time. So like I know like a student accounts offer two additional methods to do it that are aside from like the regular one where you just like pay up everything for one semester and move on with your life. For this specific systems, you pay like a $35 fee so you can take part of the service where like you're allowed to divide up your fees and pay them up at different times of the semester. For the first one, you would pay half of your bill at the beginning of the semester and pay the remaining amount and over the remaining of the semester in like smaller chunks. And for the other one, I believe it's spread out, it's divided up to 3 parts, and then you also pay that like over the period of the semester. So there are options like that that are available to you if you want to add to that.
Perfect. That is awesome, Naomi. And I think a good thing to note too, if that is a concern that you have, is the student accounts office and the financial aid office are going to be your new best friends. They are very willing to work with you and figure out the best way to move forward whenever any sort of an issue with a bill comes up. And like Naomi said, you do have options and they're more than willing to sit down with you, take a meeting, figure out what's going to work and take the stress right out of that situation as much as possible. So that was perfect. So our next question is actually kind of fun because the question is, what is the best science class to take as a non-science major? And I really don't have any science majors here. So this is a good question for any of you. Nicole, I'll throw it over to you because we haven't heard from you in a while. Have you taken a science class by this point in your junior year that you loved that you want to suggest?
Yeah, so I had to take a gen ed science and I ended up taking Bio 101. What was nice is that I took the one with the lab and the lab really helped boost my grades. So if you feel like you're not that great in science or anything like that, definitely take the lab. It's so much fun. I know it's kind of late in the day, but it's once a week and they get out so early. And the professor that runs it is so nice, and he was able to really, he was so lenient too. So if say you needed more time on something, he was able to give it to you, which was really helpful as well. I also know a lot of people that have taken an astronomy class that I heard was really awesome. Again, like astronomy is not really like a normal science, I guess you could say, but it is for a gen ed, and it's really fun learning about the space and all that type of stuff. So if you're interested in that as well, I think that was a really great option too. I'm actually taking that next semester for a gen ed credit too. So if you want to come back later, I'll let you know how it goes. But
awesome. Do either of you have a science class that you really love that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I took Anthropology 101, which I think that actually went in as like a humanitarian, whatever. There's going to be a lot of gen ed classes that you're going to have an opportunity to take. And I think, honestly, just asking what the best ones are is really smart because a lot of different students have taken different sorts of classes that fulfill those credits. So yeah, if you get the opportunity to take Anthropology 101 with Justin Lowry, it was really great. I loved him as a professor.
Awesome. Naomi, any favorite science classes or any other favorite gen eds classes?
I have a lot of favorite gen eds, but y'all already know that. For science classes, like I was actually looking to take mine the coming up semester. So thank you guys for the recommendation. I've heard of all these classes and I've also like read about them. I took out like the catalog for the science classes, which all of you can do, like and you can just like see the list of science classes that are listed and read all about them. The one I was looking at was an honors class called parental evolution or something, and like it talked about like the evolution of parenthood over the past few decades or something like that. But yeah, it was pretty interesting. So I would say if when looking for a gen ed, always try to look if you qualify for like the honors program because they have like really interesting science classes too.
Awesome. Nicole, I know it may have been a while ago, but we got a question if you remember who your Bio 101 professor was.
Off the top of my head, I don't, but I can look and I'll put it in the chat.
Okay, sounds great. All right, so let's see here. What questions do we have next? Oh, this is one of my favorite questions. Okay, so I'm going to throw this over to, let's go to Dakota first, but I might call on all of you. So the question is, why did you choose SUNY Plattsburgh? But I also like to know where else you applied. So if there's any other notable school that you want to say you applied to, and why did you pick Plattsburgh?
Yeah, I applied to a couple other SUNYs, like SUNY Buff State, SUNY Rockport, and as well as a couple of private schools that I never really knew I knew I wasn't going to go to them, but I still applied to them for whatever reason. I think they gave me like the free application. So like Siena and Nazareth. But I really ultimately it came down to, for one, the social work program was really it looked really great at Plattsburgh, and it was something I was really interested in. Not many schools have an undergrad program for it. And just the way that it was shaped up through was really looked nice to me. And I was also sort of familiar with the size of Plattsburgh as a town and the location. And I just really liked both of them. It's a really well-sized school. It's not too big and it's not too small. You know, I think the thing that most people say is you see new faces every day, but you also see the same faces every day. And I really like that because like, it's just, I don't know, I think it's ideal. You don't get sick of the same people, but you also like aren't always just like a number on a piece of paper in a class full of people you don't know. So yeah, just between those two things, or those few things, it really felt like the right choice for me.
Awesome. Naomi, you usually have a pretty good story on this one too. You applied all over the place. Did you want to talk about this one?
Yeah, I mean, I really relate to like what Dakota said. I visited a few colleges, and one of the colleges I visited was like around 20,000 students. And I was like, no, this is not gonna be for me. It was like a hot summer day when we went to visit it. And I remember my cousin was the one who took us to visit it. And to walk from her like her dorm room to wherever her class was, she was showing us the way, and like, oh yeah, it takes me half an hour. And we only walked around for like 10 minutes, and I was super exhausted. I really didn't like that there was like so many people, and it was just like, no. And then what happened was I saw a smaller campus. I didn't visit this one because I didn't travel here specifically, but I saw that and I was like, okay, wow, like this looks like a perfect college. So like that was why when I came here, like the number just seemed like the perfect number of people were in this compound, and at the same time the size of the campus was like pretty perfect. I'm an international student, so like I'm not gonna drive my car from back home. So I was like, I need to be able to walk around the campus. So like that was pretty like a huge factor. And also like I applied to a lot of colleges. I applied to like nearly 30 colleges. Why I chose this one was like, other than the part that I already talked about, it was also because like I had liberal arts education. I knew my major, but like I already decided not a major, but I didn't want to be restricted to that major. A lot of other colleges, they have like this list of classes that are already predetermined for you to take for the next 4 years. And I'm like, that's not my kind of style. So like this had like more freedom when choosing classes. So like those were some of the things, yeah.
Awesome. So we actually just got a really good question that I'm surprised hasn't come up yet. Then I'm also gonna split it in half and ask two different people because it's kind of a two-parter. So first part, I'm going to Nicole. Can you talk about our fitness center, what's offered there, what's going on?
Yeah, so we have basically like three parts to our fitness center. We have the upstairs part where it's like the kind of recreational, like basketball court. You can like shoot hoops with your friends or dance, do whatever you really want to do. What's nice is that that whole building is getting renovated completely in the next few years, so it's going to look kind of different from, say, if you go on the virtual tour and stuff like that. But we're going to have like a skywalk in that area as well. Usually it's not for the Division III sports, but we do have basketball and volleyball teams that use that for games, but it's mainly for recreation. Once you go downstairs at Memorial Hall, which is the building that has all of the gym and stuff like that, we have our fitness center, and that is basically what a normal gym would look like. We have a ton of machines for upper body, lower body, cardio, stuff like that. We also have classrooms, so we have a whole schedule that has different types of classes that you can take. My favorites are like yoga, Zumba, we have cycling. I've also really wanted to try kickboxing but wasn't able to do it, but we have a ton of different classes there, and you're able to go there as many times as you like. We have a fee of $80 for each semester for the whole area, the whole gym basically, and so you can use it as many times as you like, and go as many times a day and whenever your gym schedule is. And we also have a rock climbing wall, which is going to look a little different as well. It's going to be higher, but the whole renovation is going to make everything look so much better.
Awesome. And Dakota, the second part of that question I'm coming to you with, because they're wondering about what the club and intramural sports are like.
Yeah, so there's really, I guess, three levels of sports on campus. You have your top level, which would be like the D3. So usually if you're going to do that, you sort of have that figured out before. But for the people who aren't as, I guess, who want to do it more casually, we have both club and intramural sports. So club would be like, we have men's and women's rugby, we have frisbee golf, we have kick line and cheer. There's, I think our fishing team is technically a club sport. And there's a lot of different options there. And those sports, for the most part, except for I think cheerleading, all travel too, and they'll go to other schools and compete there. And then we also have intramural sports, and that's anything like I think we have. It's always sort of changing, but there's a well over 20 and maybe over 30 intramural sports, and that's anything from like flag football's really big. We have beach volleyball. We have a beach volleyball court behind Memorial Hall. We have like softball, both co-ed and men's and women's. We have broom ball, which if you've never played is really interesting. It's like if you so it's on the ice at the field house, and it's like hockey minus the skates, but you're playing with a broom with a ball. It's really fun and kind of hurts because you fall a lot, but I would definitely recommend that one. But yeah, there's just a bunch of different things. They're all organized online, so it's really easy to sign up for a team. And if you're trying to stay active and you enjoy sports, they're definitely like different things to do. There's also always people playing soccer behind Memorial Hall whenever it's not snowing or raining, and even then sometimes. So it's yeah, there's a lot of opportunities there.
Great. We have a couple minutes left here, but we also just got a really good question about the library. Naomi, can you talk about the different spots and levels of the library and all the different places we offer there?
Yeah, sure. So to speed this up, we kind of offer like 3 floors of the library. I don't spend a lot of time there, but I'll tell you a lot about it. So what happens on the first floor is kind of like we have a computer lab kind of thing going down there where we have like a bunch of computers. We also have like Mac, like Apple products for people who have like a hard time using Windows. So we just have like a lot of computers, and what we try to do is like have like kind of personal spaces for everyone. So we would have like a study groups, a study table with a few tables, and then a lot of them would be individual desks. And then for some people, we like for some of the seats, we try to like build a little bit like of a personal space that's all included in the part of the first part of the library. And what else is there down there is that like you can print anything you'd like. So like we have students have 500 prints per semester, and then if you would like to purchase more, you can go ahead, but like it's really unlikely that you're going to need more. So yeah, that's kind of what the first floor of the library is like. And then the second floor of the library is where you have like the study area. And then for this part, it kind of just looks like your typical library with like big tables everywhere, so you can study. And then you have like also private sections with like a computer. But the best part of our second floor library is like the carrels. So a carrel is kind of like a small room. It has like a window, a couple of chairs, a desk, and a computer. So it's designed for like 1 or 2 people to like go in and have like their own private study time. And then for like the third floor, that's where we have the quiet. It's generally quiet. We have like different levels of quiet that like you'll see, but we have it from like a discussion level to a quiet area, which is on the second floor. And then we have a really small, like deep quiet area where you can't even like eat, like you can't drop anything. Like, it has to be quite quiet, and that's found on our second floor. So yeah, did that answer the question?
Yes, I think that was awesome.
Okay, perfect.
I'm going to rapid fire a couple of these questions that just came in because we only have a few minutes left. So do you need a printer in your dorm room? A lot of students have them. You really don't need them because you have those free prints all over campus and there's printers everywhere. Best laptop to buy for college? I found when I was a SUNY Plattsburgh student, and believe it or not, it wasn't that long ago, that it really comes down to personal preference. Our campus supports Mac and PC. If you have a specific program, something in the technology field, or maybe something in digital media production, you can always reach out to the department chair and see if there's a specific software you're going to be using a lot and you just want to make sure your laptop's compatible. But realistically, it comes down to personal preference. If you're a Mac person or if you're a PC person, we're not going to force you to buy the opposite machine or it's going to drive you crazy. So last question I think we probably have time for. I'm going to throw over to Nicole and use your CA knowledge here. So this question is about the floors in freshman dorms, or really any dorm on campus, if you want to speak to that a little bit. Are they mixed genders? Do we only have one gender on a floor? What's going on?
Especially for freshmen, we can have mixed gendered floors, but for my floor last semester and this year, I should say, it was all female floor. So it kind of just depends on how, like, who picks the certain theme. Again, it's thematic based. So we had a lot of students that were female that wanted creativity, and it happened to just be all female. So, but for each, I should say each room, it's the same gender. So it'd be 2 males in one room, 2 females in the other. But usually when it is co-ed on each floor, it's usually like one side of the floor is males and the other is females. And then you have the one common room that is both, whoever can use it. For suites, it's mainly all male suites and all female suites. There's not really mixed genders within the suite. But there can be, like, say 2 suites on each floor that are male and 2 suites that are on each floor that are female, but within the suite it's not mixed. I don't know if that's kind of confusing, but
Awesome. And I think one thing important to mention here as well is we do offer gender neutral housing. So if that's something that you are interested in, that is available for you as well. All right, well, that is all of the questions, and you guys asked awesome questions. So thank you so much for participating. I'm glad you all were able to join us today. If we didn't get to your question, send us a quick email, admissions@plattsburgh.edu, and we will all get back to you and make sure that all of those questions are answered. If you would like to join us again, we do these student panels every other Wednesday. So jump right back on the SUNY Plattsburgh website and you can join us for the next one if you would like as well. I hope everyone is staying safe and healthy and you're enjoying what is probably going to be very soon your summer break, and you probably need a break after all of this craziness that's been going on. But hopefully we will talk to you very soon, and I hope you have a great day.